All these things happened when you were sleeping.
Hagamos convertir es una campaña de sensibilización que busca llegar a todas las personas en el país para que...
And I bet the half of the news you didn't even knew it, or maybe you just ignore it. If you don't believe me, we will ask to some of our citizens.
Some questions? Yes. So, first, let's see a video. So, how much of this news did you hear?
The truth is that I never heard any of this news. I only know that they are being discriminated.
Or, well, instead, how much of this news did you just ignore?
The truth?
Many of them.
Okay, so, why do you think all these things happen?
Maybe because the people are, I don't know, they're being ignorant about that.
Hello, can I ask you some questions? Yes, of course. So first I'm going to show you a video, okay? Oh my god. So, how much of this news did you hear about?
Was the truth like only just one or two?
Okay, so instead of that question, how much of this news you just ignored?
I think that the most of them.
Okay, so and the final question, why do you think this happened?
Well, like the intolerance to the people, to the different people. Yes, different because there are also people. But I think that the most of them is that, and also like the insecurity. Have you ever discriminated and
Have you ever discriminated someone because of their skin color, or have you ever seen someone being discriminated for this?
Okay, I never discriminate any person because the color of hair or his skin, and I never seen any person to discriminate other. But if I seen someone, I think that I say to her or he that that is bad. That all the people is equal and have the same rights.
have you ever discriminated? And if you see someone discriminating, what would you do?
No, I haven't discriminated someone, and what would I do if I see someone discriminating someone else? Well, first of all, I would be like, what you doing? And tell to someone else, well, first tell to that person that it's not good, tell like the reality of the things and all the consequences that.
So first, we are going to start explaining Afro-Colombian terms and indigenous communities terms. Okay, so the term Afro-Colombian is used to refer to those Colombian who are descendant from black people from Africa. It is often called this group as morenos, mulattos, niches, and other denominations. Colombia is a country with a multicultural richness, so that is why it is worth of highlighting as a mestizo country. That means that it is a nation whose racial conformation it's a product of the mixture of the many origins, such as the indigenous, the Africans, or the Europe ones.
Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the indigenous people. The indigenous people is a group and also a community of people that have different cultural characteristics. So it also influences the land and the natural resources they have because they all are connected with their culture, and also you can identify them by their physical characteristics and traditions. Knowing this information, we're going to focus on how all these communities are being discriminated and also the problems that they have in our country, Colombia.
Now we are going to continue here. So, the 30% of all internal displaced people in Colombia are Afro-Colombian people, Afro-Colombian communities, and well, that's terrible. Also, we are going to continue with the indigenous communities. The indigenous communities nowadays in Colombia, they just contribute the 3.5% of all the population, but they make up the 15% of all internal displaced people. and that's terrible.
Okay, so another problem in Colombia is the violence against the women. This is because in the context of the history, they always think that the women are the most inferior gender, so they think they can do with them whatever they want, and that's not true. So here in Colombian violence, we can see, for example, some army groups like Las FARC and also the ELN, that they are involved in forced treats of women. That means that if they don't want to do what they want, they are going to hurt them. Or also we have here an example of Fabricia Cordova, that was like a leader of women's community, and they killed Fabricia because they thought that she wasn't a good example for the women, because they are going to rebel and make a revolution. So
Also, all this violence happened because nowadays we are an intolerant
Now we're going to give some solutions to this situation. First of all, we think that the government have to protect them because they are not doing it.
Okay, second, in our schools we should be educating our children that we are all human. We are all equal, doesn't matter our skin color, our gender, our culture, our tradition.
Also, we have to be tolerant and teach our children in home that there is no reason to discriminate.
Okay, and the final solution that we are going to give is that the government should be more present in all these rural territories where there is a lack of authority, so they can make a control of the guerrillas not to appear again and start displacing all these people. Now let's ask ourselves, what have we do to avoid all these situations?